What is a program specialist and what is a SELPA?
So my name is Tom Neary. I'm the support coordinator for the Placer County SELPA, and I am a program specialist for the SELPA, so that's part of my duties. California has a unique system, I think, with their regionalized programs, and one thing I'll talk about is SELPA, a Special Ed Local Plan Area, and that's a way for California to look at providing services in a wide range of areas, especially where there are small school districts and large school districts. So SELPA is a regionalized program that allows a district to use its resources better. So in the SELPA, in the education code for SELPA, we talk about program specialists. That's actually where they show up in that law. That actually says that a region will have program specialists that are responsible for implementing the local plan. And that's for providing services for all kids and making sure there's a full continuum of options no matter where the student lives. There's a full continuum of options for that student, and that's the responsibility of the SELPA. So SELPAs have a program specialist position, and that involves usually people with specific expertise in special ed. In fact, everyone is credentialed in special ed. And those people work with school districts to make sure that they're serving a child with whatever their need is. So there are SELPA program specialists, and they operate for all the districts in that SELPA. For example, in Placer County, we have 17 school districts, including the county office. And so we serve all those school districts in our SELPA region, in our region. Some of the larger districts have a program specialist themselves. They call that person a program specialist. They do pretty much the same job as a SELPA program specialist does. The one difference is they tend to represent the district. SELPA program specialists tend to represent the child more. We're making sure that the child's services are provided, and we're a more neutral party than the program specialist for the district. I don't want to say that the district program specialists don't represent the child, but they do work for the school district. We work for all the school districts. So there is a difference.
What are your roles and responsibilities when working with students who are deaf-blind?
So it's the same role really for any child. So we're involved at the early stages, typically when kids are transitioning into our educational programs at infant. So we have an infant program that operates up here out of the county office. We work with the regional center infant program, and we're invited to the coordination meetings where the infant programs in the regional center begin working with the districts on kids that are coming up. So at 30 months, we start meeting with the current providers and the families and getting to know the child. We again meet with them at 33 months. So we're getting a sense of which children are coming up into which districts and what their needs are. That's one of our first areas where we begin meeting kids, in this case a child with deaf-blindness. We would know what services they're currently getting, what their family is really interested in, the kind of program that would work for them, and then we can begin working with their school districts on who those kids are. The second way is when kids move in from another district or another state or even another SELPA within our area. We sometimes are the first people contacted about that child and their needs, or if they come to the district and the district needs some resources outside their expertise. For example, a child that they're a small district, they need to work with the county office. They may go through us to get to know that child and family and work to sort of smooth the transition between districts or between county offices. Some of our districts operate programs for kids with vision impairments and hearing impairments, and other districts might work through us to have their children transition into those programs. So that's part of where we get to know kids. We also get involved when there are disagreements. So if a family and a district is not in agreement through the IEP process, or there are conflicts at the school site, or the IEP implementation is not going well, the families sometimes will contact us, or the districts will contact us and ask us to get involved. Maybe it's to come out and observe the child in the classroom. Maybe it's to work with the family and to find out where their concerns are. Maybe it's to facilitate an IEP so that the district and the family can participate more fully in the IEP. Maybe it's to help resolve a conflict, and so SELPA program specialists get involved in those meetings sometimes to help resolve those conflicts. Sometimes we're involved in transitions out from school to the adult world, because we're also people who have some information and access to the community agencies, what's happening in different districts. And I think that's probably one of the important roles of the SELPA program specialist and district program specialist. You are people who are supposed to know what resources exist in your area, across disciplines, across districts, across inside and outside the district. So we have to be aware of non-public schools, community agencies, family resource centers and support centers, and be able to provide that information to district people and schools and parents.
What knowledge and skills do you bring to students' educational teams?
Each of the program specialists have to be credentialed in special ed. That's important to this job because the districts and the SELPA and the families need somebody that has some experience in the field. Practical experience working with children, but also experience working with the myriad of agencies and the myriad of people, all the number of people that are in our field. I think the program specialists I know typically come from the ranks of special ed teachers, school psychologists. There are a lot of program specialist school psychologists, speech and language therapists, another discipline. Typically, I think those are the most common people that move into this area as program specialists. Some program specialists are administrative, but basically it's information about working with kids. So for example, my background is as a special ed teacher, so I was someone who has practical experience in working with kids in the classroom. But I've also done work outside of that in staff development and in administration, so it gives me a broader perspective. When an agency like a SELP or a district is hiring a program specialist, they're looking for someone with connections that they can use and depend on, people who have knowledge of what's happening in the area and in the region, and practical experience working with kids. And I might add one more thing. It's increasingly important for a program specialist to have collaborative and facilitative skills, especially in resolution of conflicts. There's a lot of need for that, and districts sometimes really depend on someone from the outside sitting in a meeting and helping teams problem solve. And being viewed as a neutral party, not being viewed as working for the districts or advocating for a family, but someone who can sort of get people talking to resolve a conflict.
Is there uniformity in the role of the program specialist across educational settings?
There is basic uniformity, I believe, in the role of the program specialist. The SELPA program specialist is a bit different from a district program specialist in that you have the luxury of being more neutral. You don't represent the district. Your job is really to try to resolve conflicts or find resources, no matter where they exist. And a district program specialist has a little bit different role. They have expertise in those same areas. They typically are more involved in just what's happening in their own district, although they can find resources outside the district. For example, at times we use non-public agencies and non-public schools. Both the SELPA program specialist and the district program specialist are aware and knowledgeable. They visit those sites, they know the people involved, and if a referral needs to be made, sometimes either one can be involved in that. So basically it's pretty much the same role. I would say the main difference is the SELPA program specialist has the luxury of being a more neutral party. The district program specialist sometimes has to represent the district in the IEP meeting with the district's offer of faith, and the SELPA program specialist does not. They're trying to work at what will work for all the parties. That's probably the biggest difference, I think.